good afternoon to Alex Hoog of Sourcing DNA. Alex, thank you very much for joining me.
Good afternoon, Simon. Thanks for having me. It's a really good possibility to have this interview with you.
Great. Well, I've certainly got some questions for you. I'm really interested in your personal journey, obviously co-founding in a new business, and also your view on the wider tech market. So let's dive straight in. You're just about to launch Sourcing DNA. I believe next month is your official launch date. So tell me what your solution will do for customers.
Well, Sourcing DNA provides gamified sourcing to companies that are keen on digitally transform their procurement and to increase their net margin by achieving up to triple savings. And we achieve this by just attracting the buyers and the supplier users as well to just come back to the platform and use it.
So it sounds as though it's very much about adoption, getting greater adoption.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
So you've used this phrase, gamified sourcing. Explain to me how you gamify a piece of procurement software.
Gamification is in fact one of our USPs, and we are very proud of that, especially because there are not really much competitors on the market using that. I just found one actually. So we see gamification as basically the evolution of user experience. So that's how we see it. And we have learned from dozens of procurement software projects that we, David, the co-founder, and me have been in, the willingness of the users to use the tools they have been given is pretty poor, depending on the poor adoption, on the poor user experience, etc., etc. So gamification is about how you can increase the intrinsic motivation of a user to come back to the platform and use it. And to motivate the users, we just use the typical gamification triggers like we have built in quests, and there are rewards, and there are levels and rankings, whatever you know from any other online game, from board games, and also from various B2C apps and tools that you are already using.
Okay, that's really interesting actually, because we hear this often about digital transformation projects which haven't been as successful as was hoped, and this lack of adoption, user adoption, right through the business is always such a difficult piece of change management. So it's really interesting to hear, you're coming at it, with this different kind of user experience approach, really. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Obviously, you're just about to launch your company with your co-founder. So what motivated you to do that, and why now?
Well, David and I have worked together since many years at Synertrade, and we gained a lot of experience from working in various projects across all industries. I personally also have like a 15 years working experience in operational and in strategic procurement. And David is just one of the pros, I would say, in Germany if it comes to e-auctioning and if it comes to game theory. And since he has left Synertrade, he started being a coder, a software developer, really great. And I think at the end of the day, the time was just right to found something and to let all these experience flow into something new, which is our own. So that was just the basic idea, and the time was just right.
So it must be a little bit of a culture shock coming from a well-established business like Synertrade to being, a completely new business with the two of you starting it. Can you tell me one thing that has happened so far? I know it's very early in your journey, that you didn't expect to happen.
Well, biggest difficulty obviously is to build up a brand from scratch. Well, this is not really by surprise, a huge effort. And, without the motivation that David and I had or have, it would be much more difficult. I was super motivated at Synertrade as this e-procurement areas, e-procurement industry is really my passion. So that's really what I'm passionate at. But the motivation I have right now, because I'm founding something new and I build it on, for me, is just extra strong. And to learn something new, at the moment, it's like brand marketing. Well, that keeps me busy, but at the end of the day, it keeps me also interested and motivated. That's just, the things that I have learned most about the new things that I've learned most about.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like taking away all that infrastructure that you had at Synertrade is actually energized you really, because you've had to fill in the blanks for yourself, do stuff that would have otherwise been delegated to different departments.
To marketing or whoever, yeah.
So just talking about marketing, how did you kind of test the market appetite for the product that you're producing with Sourcing DNA?
Well, this is what we are currently doing basically with this launch that we have in June. So since David and I have born the idea to found something, we have switched the business model and the product scope and the target group quite frequently, and a lot. What we have done now what we have developed so far and what we will launch in June will be like a version 1 of a product that is good for like 80% of all sourcings in all or in various industries. It's not something sophisticated, it's not something concrete, it's not something specialized or whatever. It's just like the basic procurement function, but good for 80% of all procurements. From there on, we really want to test, and we really want to find our sweet spot customers and our sweet spot target group, so to say. And then in this bottleneck concentrated strategy, we just want to get the best tool for exactly that target group. That's our idea, that's what we are aiming for, and this will be the next months to come.
So it sounds like you've got a product you can take to market, but very aware of the agility to keep tweaking it and also the target market that you're pursuing. Really.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm interested in whether you've had any conversations with other co-founders. I'm very mindful that Germany has a very, very active startup community, particularly in procurement, supply chain, tech, software, and I know a number of other co-founders. I just wondered whether you had reached out to anybody there, and if so, whether they were able to offer you a few kind of helpful pieces of advice at this early stage.
Well, particularly in Munich, there are a lot of small companies, startup companies. So Munich is one of the founding centers here in Germany, I would say, together with Berlin. Berlin is a bit bigger, but Munich as well. So yes, sure, we have had some communications or some talks with other startups. It was very good. It was very motivational. It was very, the feedback was always great, and that was good. The exchange was more on about some basics, like which tax advisor and which business model and which which hoster, things like that. But still, it's an ongoing process. We will continue to discuss with other startups. We don't want to have this this frontier to the other companies. We want to learn with the market, and I think that's just a good way to proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. When you've got to sort of source all your suppliers, whether it's advisors or tech suppliers, somebody who can help you shortcut that process.
Exactly.
Got to be advantageous for sure. Just in terms of go-to-market, Alex, I'm interested in your view about what is a fairly kind of traditional approach to SaaS businesses of, employ a business development representative, have them make cold call to decision makers with the view to trying to demonstrate the software, have a discovery call, closed business. So my question is really, do you think that still works in 2024, or have you got a different approach to acquiring customers?
I think cold calling, the new cold calling is now LinkedIn. So there is no cold calling as such anymore, I would say. And if it's there, I don't think it's very very successful. But LinkedIn is pretty much the same. The difference that you just send these emails or disconnects or whatever, instead of just taking up the phone and call. I think that's a difference, and I don't think that just inviting people to connect, and then if they allow you to connect, then just go in with okay, here's my proposal, or here is my invite for a meeting or whatever. I don't think that this is working. I think purchasing people, and we are talking to purchasing people, especially we as a sourcing tool provider are talking to purchasing people. I think with those guys, it's much more important to have like a dripping communication, so this constant communication flow and this important communications, and not just any whatever nice whatever. So you should have a relevant communication with the people to get in their mind as a thought leader. And this is also what LinkedIn is proposing. If you make your research about how you can be successful on LinkedIn. And it turns out that LinkedIn is now as frequently used on my mobile phone as it was Facebook like 15 years ago. So that's my new Facebook. But that's brand marketing. I think you need to get in the game. If you're not in the game, it's going to be difficult. And cold callings, also with all these GDPR stuff, especially in Germany, that's going on, it's very difficult to have somebody on the phone and to get an appointment. I don't think this is worth it. So LinkedIn is cool, and I think that provides a lot of opportunities to regions even that you would not be able to cover. So, or also to markets you would not be able to cover. So that's just a good opportunity, and I really believe in the strength of LinkedIn on these go-to-market stuff.
No, it's interesting to hear you say that, and I think you gain most success when you establish credibility on LinkedIn rather than just pitching your business or your service. If you can prove that you are knowledgeable in a certain sector or with a certain product, then you're just more likely to get a positive reception from whoever it is that you're interested in ultimately selling your product to.
Exactly.
So a few years ago, Alex, you formed a recruitment business, which is obviously a subject very close to my heart. And I was really interested to ask you what you gained from that experience in terms of understanding tech talent and how you could apply that when it's time to hire for sourcing DNA.
Actually, my learnings are, and I don't know if you really like that, but forget about the CV and trust your feelings. I think that's what I have learned the most in that time, having that recruitment firm. If a person is culturally fitting to your organization, it's worth the hire. And then you should just build the job around this person. If you are a small company, this should work out. So it's more it's better to have motivated people that fit to your company, instead of having the right person for a job which is not motivated or which is not fitting culturally to your company. So that's my biggest learning, especially for small companies, as many of or most of the startups are. In our recruiting firm in that days, we were focusing on women, after having children or whatever, which were the biggest sleeping potential on the German labor market. So that was our focus area to find the people. And I think this is also what we would be interested to go to with sourcing DNA in the future. So we would also look into that in that sleeping potential.
It's interesting, actually. You talked about having a positive feeling about somebody, and if your gut feeling is right, then build the job around them. I think the flip side of that, I heard a great phrase recently, was that if you see somebody and there's a doubt, then there's no doubt that they're not right for your business. That you should trust your instinct and not be kind of persuaded to run with something because you feel that you ought to or you should. Okay, that's interesting. Let's have a conversation about investment and funding, because I think the landscape for funding in SaaS businesses has changed enormously in the last 18 months or so. And I just wondered, what you thought the landscape was in the next 12 months for, access to investment for startup businesses.
Well, not being an expert, but my feeling and my what I'm seeing is that it seems to be that the biggest part of the investments are flowing into deep tech and companies in the deep tech area, which we aren't. So that doesn't mean that investments for any other SaaS companies or whatever would not be possible. But I think venture capitalists are keen on investing in those leap innovations, right? And not just in venture capital, but in leap innovations and trying to grab that. All companies focusing on AI, machine learning, whatever, should be able to attract the investors, which doesn't mean that we are not looking into that and that any other company would not look into that. But we, for example, are just not leap innovators in that areas. We just adapt the tools that other have founded or that other have invented and try to adopt it in our platform. And that's what we do. And that's the difference to the deep tech companies. I think those are really the focus point of investment firms.
Sorting DNA is pre-revenue. You're going to launch next month. So what milestones have you set yourself for the first year? What would success look like in 12 months' time?
Yeah, a lot of things going on at the moment, right? So if there is one target, then to have 10 customers by the end of the first 12 months from launching. It's a strong thing. It's difficult to achieve. That's true, but it should have targets. On the other side, I always remember what one former boss told me. He said, like, your business is like a stone. You just need to get it rolling. If it's rolling, you cannot keep it. Then it's done. So it will roll. If it goes down the hill, it will roll, and you don't have to do that much to it. I don't know if this is entirely true, but I want to believe in it actually. And I think having 10 customers in the first 12 months, this would be great. And this is my clear goal.
It's certainly very specific and easy to measure. So, I mean, on that note, I wish you the very best of luck with it. I hope your launch goes well, Alex. And I hope that you have some good conversations with CPOs and potential buyers of your software. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for talking with me, sharing your views and also your journey so far. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks for having me, Simon, and thanks for your time as well.